An 18-year-old George Harrison in Hamburg, 1961. The long, brutal nights in the German clubs were the crucible that forged the Beatles. He was just a kid, but this was the trial by fire that turned him into a legend. Brian Jones in 1963, the year the Stones began. Before the chaos, he was the band's undisputed leader and musical visionary. This photo captures the quiet, blues-obsessed genius who started the world's greatest rock and roll band. John Lennon on the set of A Hard Day's Night, 1964. The film perfectly captured his sharp, cynical wit. This was Lennon the artist, the rebellious heart and soul of the Beatles, at the absolute height of his creative powers. The Byrds on Ed Sullivan, 1965. This was the moment folk rock conquered America. Their electric version of Bob Dylan's poetry and the jingle-jangle of their Rickenbacker guitars became the signature sound of a generation. Bob Dylan with John Sebastian in Greenwich Village, 1965. This photo captures a last, quiet moment in the traditional folk scene. Just months later, Dylan would release Like a Rolling Stone, go electric at Newport, and burn all the old bridges. A young David Jones in 1965, before he became Bowie. He was a struggling folk mod musician, still searching for his voice. This photo captures the artist as a young man, just before he began the endless reinventions that would change music forever. Mick Jagger, 1966. With the album Aftermath, he and Keith were now writing all the rules. The car, an Aston Martin, was pure James Bond. It was a sign that the rock and roll rebels had become the new royalty. The face of swinging London, Marianne Faithfull, in 1967. More than just Mick Jagger's girlfriend, she was a star in her own right. But this was the year of the famous Redlands incident that would turn her into a tabloid legend. A young, intense Neil Young in 1967, during his time with Buffalo Springfield. The legendary band was a pressure cooker of talent and ego, and this photo captures the fiercely independent artist just as he was beginning his legendary solo journey. Simon and Garfunkel, 1968, crafting their masterpiece, Bookends. This photo captures their famously meticulous process. Paul Simon's perfectionism was legendary, the secret ingredient that made their literate, ambitious folk rock timeless. A beardless ZZ Top in 1973, the year of LaGrange. Before the videos, there was just this, the unstoppable telepathic groove between Billy Gibbons and Dusty Hill. The raw, blues-drenched foundation of a true American legend. The Godfathers of Metal, Black Sabbath, on their first tour of Australia in 1973. They were at the height of their power and creativity, bringing their heavy, doom-laden sound from the factories of Birmingham to the world stage. The classic Deep Purple lineup in 1970. This was the year of In Rock, the album that saw them unleash a heavier sound and become pioneers of heavy metal. This was the moment the definitive lineup truly arrived. The Beatles meet Princess Margaret at the 1965 premiere of Help. They were no longer just pop stars, they were a national treasure. The working-class lads from Liverpool had officially charmed their way into the royal family. Glenn Frey with Linda Ronstadt in 1976. He was now a superstar, but just a few years earlier, he was her backing musician. It was Ronstadt who encouraged him and Don Henley to form their own band, effectively launching the Eagles. The original 70s supergroup Bad Company in 1974. They were the first band signed to Led Zeppelin's Swan Song label. With Paul Rodgers' legendary voice and a no-frills sound, they became instant arena rock gods. Frank Zappa's wild 1970 lineup of the Mothers. He shocked everyone by hiring former pop stars Flo and Eddie from the Turtles, but their humor and powerhouse vocals were a perfect match for Zappa's bizarre, brilliant, and confrontational rock theater. The legendary, one-of-a-kind Cramps, around 1980. They crawled out of the New York punk scene with a crazed blend of 50s rockabilly and B-movie horror. One of the most original and influential cult bands of all time. Ireland's guitar hero, Rory Gallagher, in 1975. A true road warrior, his explosive live shows were legendary. He even turned down an offer to join the Rolling Stones, a people's hero who always stayed true to his blistering brand of blues. A young Jimi Hendrix in 1964, paying his dues as a guitarist for the Isley Brothers. He was a hired gun, often let go for being too flashy. It was here, on the Chitlin circuit, that he honed the showmanship that would make him a star. Jimi Hendrix with Michelle Phillips and Mama Cass at Monterey Pop, 1967. Cass was one of his biggest champions, blown away by the man who had come to conquer America. A meeting of the California sound and the revolutionary new noise. CSNY's legendary 1974 reunion tour. Dubbed the Reunion Tour, it was famous for its clashing egos and lavish production. This photo captures a rare, fragile moment of harmony from the four men who defined the sound of a generation. Debbie Harry for Cream magazine in 1976. Before Blondie was a pop sensation, she was the undisputed queen of the New York punk scene. This iconic photo captures the tough, smart, and self-aware attitude that made her a legend. A 17-year-old Joan Jett in 1976, the year the Runaways' debut album hit the streets. She was the true rock and roll heart of the band, and this photo captures the defiant, trailblazing spirit that would make her a punk rock icon.